Hi, in this video, we're going to see how to enable container insights on Azure Kubernetes services. Here we will have an example Azure Kubernetes service or AKS cluster. On that AKS cluster, how we can enable a monitoring capability or log analytic capability called container insights. So here we have to create an Azure Log Analytics Workspace. To point into that log analytics workspace, we need to configure a certain resources on the Azure Kubernetes services, which actually scrapes the logs from Kubernetes objects plus Azure Kubernetes Services control manager or control plane logs. How those the logs can be extracted and stored in Azure Log Analytics Workspace, and from there we can get the required insights, something like this in this PPT that you see, right? So here, without being delay, what I do is I'm going to take you to the my Azure subscription. So this is my Azure subscription. In this one, I have already created Azure Kubernetes Service. And now, as part of my demo, I also created Log Analytics Workspace. So to help you to create, how to create a Log Analytics Workspace, so you can go to the resources, click on Log Analytics Workspace, and click on Create. So once you click on Create, basically like this, here you need to choose the resource group and then give the name of your Log Analytics Workspace. Choose the reason where you want to keep the Log Analytics Workspace. And next, and click on Review plus Create, which is basically creates a something resource something like this. That is the Log Analytics Workspace. So Log Analytics Workspace, as you know, so this is kind of a workspace where the logs can be stored, and on those logs you can run analytics queries, right? So here the source of log here is our AKS logs, that is AKS logs from Kubernetes objects and Azure Kubernetes Service Control Manager plane, in the sense control plane logs. Yeah. Now, so these are all the basically prerequisites, in the sense you need to have a Kubernetes cluster, you need to have the log analytics workspace. Now, with these resources available, how to enable the container insights? Okay, that is what I'm going to help you here. So for that sake, I have an ARM template. These ARM templates are given from Azure itself. So I'm going to walk you through these ARM templates, and then we will see how to deploy this ARM template targeting to our AKS cluster, which enables container insights. Now, if I go to the ARM template, basically this is very simple ARM template. It contains a schema, API versions, and parameters. So especially parameters, which is asking like AKS informations, and your log analytics workspace informations will be asked here, right? So no worries, I'm going to share this JSON files or the ARM templates in my video's description. You can find the link of my GitHub repository from the video description, and from there you can get these files which I'm demoing here. So we have a parameter, that is AKS resource ID, resource locations, tag values, workspace region, that is nothing but log analytics workspace, log analytics workspace resource ID, stream, then the enable the container log to versions, enable the syslogs, syslog level, syslog facilities. Basically, when you enable the container insights, in the sense you are actually scraping the logs. What are all the types of logs and what are the levels of logs that you want to extract? That is what it is calculated in a parameters. Yeah. So with that being said, this is what the parameter is all about. Now, I'm going to minimize the parameters. Let's go to the variables. So in the variables, you see that. Okay. So let me minimize this one as well so that you can see. So this is nothing but dynamically constructed variables needed for the ARM template, which we can ignore for now. Let's go to the important part, that is resources. In the resources, it actually creates Azure Monitor Private Link Scope. Yeah. If it is needed, it will create, or else it will not create. That's what that is what how it is parameterized. Okay. Okay. So now down the line, basically, you are so here also we are doing the resource deployment, that is nothing but ARM deployment. Yeah. So in this one, basically, here is the this is nothing but it is just creates a resource deployment with this name. This is a resource group. This is incremental one. This is basically it's just a a resource deployment. The resource. Similarly, we have a two resource deployment, namely for certain resources will be deployed. So this one is nothing but just an incremental resource will be created here. Likewise, if you see here, that is nothing but a resource deployment. When you say Azure resource deployment, it is basically there is a need of ARM template. So you need to give an ARM template. With using that references, it actually deploys the resources in the Azure resource group. So here, this is basically, it is pointing to this ARM template. Within this, it is actually creating you see that it is creating a data collection rule that is nothing but DCR, data collection rules. And then it is actually creating the private link scope as well. Wherever you see the type, that is where you can actually try to identify what is that actually happening in the ARM template, and that is what I'm doing here. So this is also another resource deployment, and this time it is actually also creating one more data collection rules. So we need a data collection rules because we need to extract the data from the AKS, right? That is the reason it is creating these many resources. So it has multiple resource deployment, I mean for multiple resource deployment purpose. Yeah, so if I go down quickly, so here basically this is an the again one more resource deployment, the resource here. All right, so it looks like that was the last resource deployment. Yeah, this is very complicated ARM template, and it needs certain times basically, and so it needs some time to go deeper down. Okay, so which I'm not going in this video. Just this video is focused on how to enable it and how to use it. All right, so these are all the resources which is provided by Microsoft. We're going to use it, and we're going to analyze the logs extracted from these configurations. So this is finally, it is targeting and deployment to the basically container service managed cluster. Yeah, that is nothing but our AKS cluster. All right, so these are all the basically, it contains multiple resource deployments. If I can minimize these, so we have a 3 resource deployment till now, and this is like a 4th one deployment, that is Microsoft resource deployment. So this is 6th one, this is basically 6th, 7th one. Yeah, in total we have 7 resource deployment and 2 resource creations in total. Yeah. So likewise, as we walk through the parameters, so these are all the parameters.json file. Okay. Now I need to deploy this ARM template with using the PowerShell. So I'm going to take you to the my PowerShell script. This is the PowerShell script I have created for this deployment purpose. In my previous video, I have shown you like how to create a Prometheus and Grafana based the metric metric scraping and visualizations sequentially. And now I have appended one more block underneath this script called for container insights enablement. Okay, so I'm going to share this script in my video's description. You can find it from there and try to enable at your cluster as well. So here we have a resource ID for AKS, right? So nothing but whatever the ARM template that I walked through. So this is the ARM template path, and this is the parameter file. This is the deployment name, and this is where the resource group is nothing but this is the resource group where I have created the Log Analytics Workspace, and this is also resource group where our AKS cluster is sitting. Now targeting to that AKS cluster, we are actually enabling the container insights targeted to the Log Analytics Workspace. In the parameters, so this is nothing but the parameter file which I saw. So here you will see the values assigned to those parameter names in the form of a hash table. So here this is AKS the resource ID. Location, this is the workspace resource ID. Region, enable, this is the container log to syslogs. Basically, here we actually, as I said, container insights will target to Kubernetes object mounting, in the sense it will extract the logs out of the Kubernetes real-time Kubernetes objects, which includes deployment, replica set, right? Basically config map. So these are nothing but the Kubernetes objects. So there would be a logs on these Kubernetes objects. Okay, those logs will be extracted by this container insights. Yeah. And then finally we are actually need to give the so yeah, so if I can minimize, this is the syslog facility. I'm going to minimize this, and then we have okay, syslog's facility looks to be very big, and we have a syslog labels as well. You see that. So we are actually telling him, hey, go and extract these kind of log labels, that is debug logs, information logging, notice, warning, error. These are nothing but types of logs. Okay, and the log facilities, in the sense which are all the resources which will facilitate the logs, right? It could come from auth, cron, daemon, yeah, all these mails, news. Okay, then we have a tags, data collections, the interval is nothing but this is what like I am polling interval for collection the data. Okay, then this is the namespace filtration mode. Okay, so this is very default namespace for data collections, in the sense in which namespace the data collection should happen, that is in a kube system. All right, these are all the streams. Yeah, this is private link configuration, which I'm just keeping it as a false. All right. Okay, so this is Azure monitor private link, which we are keeping it false. Yeah. Now, with that very simple parameter options given here, we actually run the new, the AZ resource deployment targeting to a resource group where we have created the AKS and the Log Analytics Workspace. So I'm going to run this again in front of you, and we're going to watch what what will be happening on the resource group where we have kept the resources. Now let me take you to the my resource group, that is cloudquicklabs. And if you go to the deployments, if I go to the deployments, here you go, right? So we just now clicked the deployment, and currently it is deploying. Okay, so ARM template is nothing but it's a kind of infrastructure as a code supporting utility from Microsoft, which will actually help you to manage the infrastructure as a code, or manage your infrastructure in a versioned manner. So this will take some time. So we're going to keep on pause for some time. And then once it is done, then we're going to start exploring the container insights. Okay, after waiting more than 2 minutes, you see that now deployment has green with nothing but, the deployment has refreshed, I can say. So once it is refreshed, you see that it has given the proper output. Yeah. So once we go back and look at the command, that is new AZ resource group deployment. So that has gone green. Okay, so you see that it has gone green. Likewise, that is what it resembles in the resource group deployment options as well. Now we go to the resource group, and here we will explore the container insights now. So when you say container insights, it's basically it's made up of nothing but it is created with using the configurations on the AKS, pointing to the the log analytics workspace. Yeah. Now, if you go to the AKS cluster, click on that and go to the option called monitoring. And when you click on insights, now you see that this page will be loaded. If you are not enabled the container insights, this actually the insights page will not have any data. As you see here in the down the line, there are two tiles. One is node count, and the active active pod count is actually giving some data. You see that it is giving the data. If I refresh it for last 1 hour, we should see some nice graphs. Okay, which means that it is actually extracting that the data, right? Yeah. And it is currently giving the some insights, saying like this is my node count, this is my active pods. Yeah. So this is at a cluster level, and you can also explore the reports as well. You see that these are all the reports belongs to the respective the respective items. Okay, so here container insight generally targets to the two levels, right, which I said, like manage cluster components, right, which includes your control plane, API server, etcd, like so, like that. And the other one is it also targets to the Kubernetes objects and workloads. Okay, so here reports is talking about resource monitoring, that is deployments, workloads, nothing but these are nothing but the Kubernetes objects. Yeah, this is kubelet, persistent volumes, cluster optimizations, and nothing but these are all the basically the Kubernetes objects. Networking, syslogs. Okay, so these are the things that is node monitoring. That's fine. Let's try to explore this. If I click on this one, let's see if I get something. It's currently saying something. Let's see that the query returned no result. Basically, this is looks to be no result. Let me click on last 4 minutes or last 1 hour, and this is overview. It's not resulting any results. Operations performance. Okay, looks like we have not selected the expected the insights, right? Let's go to the other one, that is basically if I go back to the insights again, go back to the insights, and then go back to the, let's explore the other the other insights on the Kubernetes cluster, that is reports we have explored. Now let's go to the nodes. Okay, so on the nodes, what are all the what are all the insights that we're gonna get, right? So it actually tells about certain information like node pools and the other processes belongs to that node pool. Unscheduled, the pod, basically that's what you can say. This is unscheduled one because of the memory problem or because of the resource problem. This pod is not getting scheduled, and that is what you are able to see in the insights. Go to the controllers. Basically, controllers, as I said, this is actually, on the controller you see that there are so many pods basically running, and there are like a different types of the objects. You see that, as I said, the container insights will get you the the more details or more logs about you the Kubernetes objects. So Kubernetes objects like replica set, and the replica set, you see that this is one replica set. It is actually getting the status of that replica set, that is okay, container information like that. You can dig down and get a more insights about that basically. And this is the replica set. Basically it has a two replica sets. Yeah. And if you dig down, you can also find more information. So we have a daemon set, right? Okay, we have a replica set. Nothing but these are all nothing but basically these are nothing but the managed cluster component, nothing but controller components. Yeah. All right. Now let's go to the containers. So what are all the containers that are running in the clusters? Okay. So there are a hell lot of containers that are running in this cluster. You can also see the data about those. Yeah. Okay. So this is where you can see, if I can click on view all clusters. Basically, you see that containers. So here you can see the container insights. View the monitor cluster. Okay, that's fine. Now what I do is, this is not enough, right? So generally, as I said, here in the container insights, you can get some handful of insight from the AKS service page. But if you go to the Log Analytics Workspace, you're gonna get more, right? So let's see what we can explore more about the container insights. So that you need to go to the Log Analytics Workspace and click on the logs basically. Yeah. So once you click on logs and close this options, and automatically you see that tables, underneath the tables list, you see that Azure resource table list and the log management table. So here we have a heartbeat, we have a insight metrics, we have a performance metrics. Yeah. Okay, so then we have a table for the insight metrics, Kubernetes events. Let's try to explore this table. Okay, so I'm just gonna choose this table for now and click on a run. So basically, once you choose that table and click on a run, basically just extract the the table data that is present underneath this table. In this table, we have a three records, and if you expand these three records, it actually talks about an event. One event is telling that there is a failed scheduling. In sense, there is a failed scheduling happening in this cluster. This is nothing but the cluster, because this Logit workspace is targeted for container insights. Okay, and this is where the logs are getting and populated here in the log analytics workspace. So here you will get a real-time insights. So this will be checked. When then let's check about the pod inventory. Okay, so let's say I will choose the pod inventory. You can run the queries. You can run the queries across the tables. For now, I'm just making you to walk through these the pod inventories. Okay, so in the pod inventories, it is actually extracting the number of pods that is running in the clusters. Yeah. And then the cube services, you can also explore the cube services. So let me see the cube services here. Okay, so let me remove this and click on a cube service again. Run this query, which actually discovers the services that is running. Okay, you see that there are the selectors, the service name. You see that cube DNS metric server. These are nothing but default services that will run on the AKS, and that is what getting visualized here. You can also get more details about those by expanding the particular logs. Yeah. Okay, that is about the Azure resources. Okay. Now you can also get the insight metrics. Okay, so insight metrics is something very interesting. Let's see what insight metrics talks about. So if I click on the insights metrics, it is actually getting you lots of data. If you explore here, and you see that it is getting you lot many the data. Yeah. Okay, so these are nothing but basically which are all the information that will help you to dig down on your AKS cluster. So likewise, in the log management, you can also get the performance metrics. Let's see what is there in the performance table. If I click on the performance table, So it is actually getting you the the performance metrics of the AKS cluster. So this is basically the ops manager. Source is ops manager. So we see that we were configuring these kind of source of data. That is where it is getting the data. Yeah. So basically these are all nothing but you are actually getting the more detailed insights about your the AKS cluster. Okay. So likewise, you can explore more about these resources and try to run a query. Maybe you can create a alert, you can create a visualizations from here. So there are so many options we can do with using these options. Yeah. All right. So with that note, I have shown you the main important topic, right? So how you can enable Azure Kubernetes services with the container insights, and then how to use the container insights to get the real-time insights of the AKS cluster. Yeah. All right. So with that note, thank you very much for watching my video. Kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. With that note, thank you. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.